Hello and welcome to the Odoo Experience 2022. I'm very glad to have you here in order to present you the new features of Odoo 16. I'm Robin, I'm part of the business consultant team, and within that team I'm part of the accounting expertise. I'm very glad to present you today the Accounting 16 blazing fast bank matching tool. But before doing so, I will share you a personal story. So when I was young, my grandfather had a shoe store. And I was very proud to go to that shoe store because it's a shoe store with leather shoes, kind of shoes that you can keep for a lifetime. And I was very proud to see my grandfather interacting in a particular way with the clients and seeing him selling his shoes. And every time he sold something, he had to write it down in a book, literally in the books. He had to write down if it was in cash or in electronic payment, and he had to write down what were the goods sold. And of course, you see it coming. Well, sometimes at the evening, he forgot to note something down in a rush, and he had to retrieve everything that was sold and retrieve all the payments received. And that's what it's all about. Odoo now, today, can make your life easier to reconcile only in one click all the open amounts with the amounts received or paid. And when I was preparing this talk, I was wondering, what is the number of reconciliations done in Odoo? I went to my colleagues of the accounting department, and for Odoo, for the year 2021, we had 90,500 customer invoice to reconcile and 9,500 supplier bills to reconcile. So that means that more than 100,000 transactions have been reconciled on 1 year. So that's a lot, and it's very easy in Odoo. That makes it the life easier for our colleagues of accounting. But for Odoo 16, the R&D has done better, faster, and stronger. We have now a better usability, a faster transaction process, and a stronger reliability. So what is new now in Odoo 16, and what has the team of the R&D done? Well, the first thing is the visual that has completely been revamped. Then it is now possible to filter on elements to reconcile. And then the third one is the introduction of the chatter in the view of the reconciliation feature. So here you have a sneak peek of the visual, and you see it's not at all as before. And in the new visual, it is now possible to have a direct view on all the open amounts for customers and suppliers. The to-check feature is more user-friendly, and the global usability has been improved. Now the introduction of the personalized filters. We have the possibility to filter by transaction date, to filter on incoming or outgoing payments, to filter by journal, payable or receivable, but you can even create any filter needed for you. So it makes it much easier and more user-friendly because you can create any filter that you would like that would be convenient to you. And now the third one is the introduction of the new chatter and the new features linked to it. So as any other chatter, it is possible now to send an email, to add a log note for another user, to schedule an activity, to add attachments, but it is now possible as well to have a direct link with the brand new knowledge applications. But now enough teasing, and let's go for a demo. So here you have my Odoo. You see we have a lot of applications, but for this presentation I will only deep dive in the accounting application. Here you see my accounting dashboard with several journals, and here what I need is my bank journal. You can see here the balance in the general ledger, the outstanding payments, and 3 main payments that need to be sent via SEPA that we will see later on. You have the smart button to reconcile 10 items. What I will do later, because first I want to deep dive in my bank journal. And by doing so, you see that I already have 3 matched invoices. Those invoices are linked to a reconciliation model that will automatically link the open amounts with the amounts received or paid. So here, in this case, it means that the payment reference, the partner, and the amount are 100% corresponding to the open amounts in the customer invoices of supplier bills in Odoo. So it makes it more user-friendly because you don't need to do anything. Odoo will auto-validate via that reconciliation model all the open amounts, and you don't need to click anywhere. But now let's go to the ones I need to reconcile. And you see here on the left, I have all the amounts received or paid. The received ones are in red with a minus in front of it, and the one that I paid, the paid are in red, and the one I received are in black. You see here what needs to be reconciled, and here you have all the open amounts within Odoo. So let's start with the first one. So the first one is an invoice for Deco Addict, so the partner has been recognized, and the label as well. You see that the payment reference is a structure reference, and on the payment received we have the invoice. But Odoo has recognized it, and we can just validate this one. You see that by validating it, it's removed from my views. Why? Because automatically, by clicking on reconciling on the smart button to reconcile, we have the filter on not matched. Now I have a payment that I have done, and you see that it's 570 euros. Odoo has recognized the first one of 30, and there is an open balance of 541. If now I go in my manual operations, you see I have a payable of 571. So if I filter now on my payable, because you see you can filter on either receivable or payable, or add a custom filter. But here I will just filter on my payable ones. You see here that I have the blue one, the blue line is corresponding to the reconciliation already done. And I need a very old one here from 2018 of 541. By clicking on that line, you see it's becoming blue. So it's making the link here, and you see that it's completely reconciled and balanced. So I can validate this one as well. Now I have an amount of 750 for Apple. I have paid that amount, but I remember that I don't have an amount of 750 for Apple. So I go on my manual operations, and you see that actually I have an amount of 2,500 euros. You see that receivable and payable are clickable. You see that by clicking on receivable, here my account will change on 40. By clicking on payable, it will be on a 44, which is my payable one. I won't do that because I want to link it with my paid amount. But I know that I have only prepaid actually a total invoice of Apple. And I know it's this one. So by clicking on it, you see that Odoo will add the 750, remove the 2,500. And when I go on my manual operations, you see now that the partner is set with the right account and the amount as well. But Odoo here in the right corner is proposing something. So the invoice with the sequence that you have here with an open amount of 2,500 euro will be reduced by 750 euro. You might want to set the invoice as fully paid. So if I click now on fully paid, you see that actually Odoo is proposing to say that we have paid the total amount and just have an open balance for that invoice, which I don't want here in this case, and I will just click on partial payment. You see as well that by clicking on this, we have a direct link with the bill, and we can have a look at it. Now let's go back to our bank reconciliation. So I will just click on this. I will do nothing and just validate it. Now here we have a payment that we receive for 19,000 euro. And you see that the label is group payment. So probably that it's a batch payment within Odoo. Because in Odoo it is possible to create several payments and create that in a batch, take the XML and send that to your bank. Here it's probably linked to SEPA direct debit, and I will click on the first line, and you see that the first line is actually an amount that I need to receive, and the second line is an amount that I will pay later on. I'll click on it, and you see that I have all the lines linked to that batch payment. So actually that means that in that batch payment I had 3 payments. You see that actually Michelangelo and Leonardo have paid, but Donatello probably not. It means that the SEPA direct debit has not been through. So that means that the amount still needs to be received. So I will remove this payment from the batch payment. You see that the validate button becomes blue, and I can click on it. And by doing so, Odoo is proposing following thing. So it's a batch payment, and from that payment, 1 payment from the batch have been removed, which I have just done. Do you want to cancel payments to retry them later, or keep the batch open with unprocessed payments if you expect them later? So here Odoo is proposing 2 things. Either you cancel the payment, so that means that on the invoice the in payment will be removed and you will need to recreate a payment, or keep the payment and you expect that money later. Here in this case I will cancel the payment because I will do a new batch payment later to retrieve my money. And you see, by doing so I'll come on my next reconciliation. Here I have bank fees, and you see that Odoo is automatically proposing the right amount, right account for the right amount, and this account is linked to the interest of the bank without VAT. You see here above that I have several reconciliation models possible. One is the internal transfer, other one is cash discount, and then the last one is the bank fees with VAT. I know here in this case that I don't need VAT, so I can just validate with the reconciliation model detected. And here I have an amount of 500 euro for tax fees Mr. White. Well, actually I don't know any Mr. White and I don't expect to receive any tax fee. So I'll go into my Discuss tab, and you see here that I can send a message, add a log note, or schedule an activity if I want. But why am I going my Discuss tab here is because I have the direct link with the knowledge application. So I click on it, and you see that I have several documentations that has been created internally for all the users. And you see that I have a title of accounting knowledge with bank and cash, AR invoices, or AP invoices. Here in this case, I need the bank and cash. So I click on bank and cash, and you see that a documentation has been created in case of something is not clear. So here you have, what if a payment received cannot be linked to a specific partner? Well, based on following criteria, you can put the payment on to check, and the responsible will take care of it. So the first criteria is the name on the bank payment is not the name of a partner in Odoo, which is the case here. I don't know any Mr. White. The second one is the payment reference does not correspond to anything in Odoo. Well, yeah, tax fees, Mr. White doesn't correspond to anything. And there is no partner and payment reference on the statement. Well, there is one, but it's not corresponding to anything. So what I will do is going back on my bank reconciliation feature, going into my Discuss, add a log note for my colleague Mark Demo, and say, could you please have a look at this? Partner is not in Odoo. I will log my note. And then what I can do as well is click on to check in order to have it in my filters later on. You see that by clicking on to check, it has been removed because it's only on filtered on not matched. Here we have a payment that we have done for 120,000 euros. And this is linked to my intercompany payment for San Francisco, Hong Kong, and Dubai. Because, as you know, Odoo has some offices at those places. What I will do now is filter on payable, and you see that here I have the one for San Francisco, and you see it's directly added, Hong Kong, and Dubai. So actually, with the new reconciliation feature, it's possible to link one payment to several partners, which is of course very convenient. And I can just validate this one, and it's gone. Here I have a special one. You see that I have my lines of bank and my trade debtors, but I have an early payment discount. So that means that Raphael has paid this invoice that for what I've sold to him in an early payment. So that means that within the 8 days, he has paid for an cash payment discount. You see that Odoo recognizes that automatically, puts the right account with the VAT linked, and that the operation is balanced thanks to that. So I can just validate this one, and it's gone. Here I have two payments of 1,700 and 2,050, and those are linked to my employee salaries. You see that thanks to my label, which is a miscellaneous entry of salary, he has linked the right account, and he can reconcile with the amount that has been paid. I will validate this one and this one as well. And now you see that there is no data to display anymore. But if I remove this filter, you will see everything here on the left with the tags matched. You see we have a green color, and this one is to check with an orange color. You see as well that if I would like to find a specific partner, I can look for Azure, but you see you have different options to filter on transaction, on label, on statement, partner, and so on. But here I need the partner, and you will see that I have all the transactions linked to that partner. So now I go back on my accounting dashboard, and something I would like to show you as well is the online synchronization. It is in Odoo possible to make the online synchronization with any bank. Here you have all the Belgian ones, but you can filter on worldwide, and we'll have all the synchronization directly within Odoo. So what you receive on your bank will be directly in Odoo, which is much more convenient, of course. So that was it. That was my presentation about the blazing fast matching tool within Odoo 16. I'm very happy that you were here, and we see each other in the Q&A session.
right now.
It's a long way. All right, thank you for the presentation. We have one question now. Do we have a new bank, like the questioner just raised, but it was like, do we have a third-party new payment provider? If you don't want it answered, just feel free.
No, we still have Ponto and Saltech. As you may know, we expect and we would like to do not have a third party anymore, and we're working on it. But we still have Ponto and Saltech, which are our third parties right now.
Okay. Another question: can you turn off the auto match? Does it go based on dates of payments?
Well, yeah, you can remove the auto validate. And what is the other question?
Does it go based on dates of payments?
Well, yeah, you can add criteria to validate. It can be based on label. You can do even regex, so regular expressions, in order to find very specific things in the reference or in the label. So yeah, the possibilities are infinite for that.
Okay. Cash discount. Can we see how the 2% split in reduced? My page just got translated to Spanish for some reason. There's an English one. Can you create a statement line without a bank statement now?
Yes, indeed. That's something that I didn't mention, but I think that Winan did. It is now optional to have a bank statement. So you can choose to link it to a bank statement or not. So you can have all lines and not one bank statement with different lines in it. But for the lines, you have an option to add the bank statement directly on it.
Okay, thank you. There's another one. What's the best practice for credit card statement reconciliation?
So the credit card reconciliation is to put it to find the credit card via regex in order to reconcile it automatically. But I think we need to let the floor for the other ones because we are a bit late. So maybe if you want, you can come to the accounting booth in order to explain to answer all your questions, and I'll be very pleased to see you there.
Thank you.